All right. Hello, and welcome everybody. This is the ASEA solution. I'm excited to share with you something that I'm extremely passionate about, and that's a company called ASEA. Been a massive breakthrough. Really excited to share with you my perspective on this tonight and answer any questions that you might have as well. Um, let's see, just to begin with, my wife Melissa and I are extremely grateful to be ambassador diamonds with ASEA. We were some of the first associates to come to bring ASEA to the Australian market, and we've been involved with this company for about 6 years. Just as we kind of get started, there's different reasons why you may have joined us here tonight or today if you're listening to the recording. One, you might be looking for an answer to some personal health challenges, some health issues that maybe you're dealing with. Perhaps you're here looking for somebody else, someone that you care about and someone that you love. And if that's the case, you're definitely in the right place. We all know people that we care about, people that we love. And I guess my question for you is, if you know somebody who's hurting, and if you thought you had something that could really help them, would you tell them about it? I hope the answer is yes. As a matter of fact, I would encourage you to have a pen and paper and write down any names that pop in your head, because you will think of people that need to know about the product, the technology, or the opportunity that ASEA offers as well. If you're here because you're interested in looking and feeling younger, if you're interested in looking 23% younger in the next 28 days, you're in the right place. I know that sounds like a crazy comment, but I'll show you some before and after photos on how remarkable this anti-aging benefit this technology is. The other thing is athletic performance. What would an athlete do to have a competitive edge? Just about anything. We can show athletes how to have an incredible competitive edge safely and legally, and with a technology that's completely goes beyond natural. It's native, so works with the body. Now, even if you're not an athlete, maybe you kind of think in terms, the way I like to think about this is if you have an active lifestyle, or if you just simply want to get more out of your day, be able to spend more quality time with the kids, grandkids, that sort of thing, and have the energy and the vitality to be able to do that. So even if you've got an active lifestyle, I think that certainly fits in. Now, this is circled number 5 because this was one of our reasons, was a proactive approach to health. Look, I've been involved with health and wellness technologies for the last 27 years. And so I didn't have any major health crisis or issue at the time. But look, I remember years ago, a doctor stood up at a presentation I was at, and he said, "May you never know what you're preventing." Now think about it. And of course, we've all heard an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Okay, we know that phrase. But truly, when you really stop and think about that, how many people do you know who have had their life turned upside down in an instant because they had a stroke, or they had a heart attack, or they had an aneurysm, or something like that? Now, if you doesn't it make sense if you invest in your health, if you pay attention to your health, the quality of your health beforehand, you can prevent a lot of drama. And when I talk about the cost, it's not just the financial cost. We're talking about the cost of quality of life. So very, very important. So when I understood what this technology was, absolutely, without a question, that'd be the last thing I'd ever get off. This is something I'll use for the rest of my life. Now, the number 6 question for you: do you have room in your bank account for more? If you do, just say aye, blink. We all do. Look, because this opportunity is so massive, and the way that ASEA has chosen to market this, which is, by the way, the most effective form of marketing, which is word of mouth, there's a tremendous opportunity. And by the way, it's the kind of thing that people naturally want to share with other people as well. So it really doesn't matter what your reason is, or what my reasons are, but really what's most important is what your reason or reasons are. I think all of these are really important reasons, but maybe it might give you a little broader perspective on what brought you here tonight. And also, as I mentioned before, I want you to really think of people that need to know about this technology, because it's pretty important. We need to get the word out. What I'd like to do is just to maybe begin with by sharing a little bit of my story and where we were at where I was at when ASEA came into my life. But more importantly, I want you to do a personal assessment, a personal inventory as we go through this, because I'd like you to really take a look at where you could use more balance in your life. So just to let you know and give you some perspective, I've been involved with ASEA for about 6 years, a little over 6 years as of last September, and this has absolutely been a godsend in our life. But before ASEA did come into our life, things were pretty upside down. I'd been involved with the network marketing profession for 20, with another company for 19 years. Did very well with that company, had tens of thousands of people in an organization that I had built. But what actually happened was that that company lost its way. All of a sudden, things that were really important to me, like customer support, quality control, kind of went away. Just wasn't the same company. They also did things like changing the compensation plan, and we saw our income plummeting substantially. But even more importantly, what hurt was seeing some of the people that we were involved with, that were part of our business, get hurt financially too. And I guess it was just because the culture and the ethos wasn't there. So what happened was I didn't have the heart to really share this with other people, even though I was still making a decent income with that company at the time. For me, it had to be right. And so on a score of 1 to 10, I would put this on about a 4. I wasn't happy. I was looking for something more. The other thing is as I mentioned, the income had gone down. So I don't know if any of you can relate with this, but it seemed like there was always more month than there was money. I think a lot of people can relate with that. And so, we were constantly, looking to stretch out the month and make things work. There wasn't a lot of money for extra things. And so truly, we needed more balance in our life that way too. I needed to get it right. I needed to find something where I could really provide for my family in a way that would be meaningful uh, and so forth. So the other thing in terms of the finances and the career, just on a personal note, the full disclosure, I mean, I was dealing with a major legal challenge that just kept perpetuating for years and years. Was battling multiple attorneys, and it just really drained us financially. And so everything that we'd worked on for years just wasn't there. And so, as I mentioned, I needed to get it right. I was looking for a new home. Now, I did a couple of years at Utah State University, but I'm a proud college dropout. What that meant, though, at the time was I was unskilled, other than just sales or marketing, but I didn't have a degree or something like that, or to fall back on. I love the network marketing profession, but based on this previous experience, I was a little bit apprehensive, and so um, uh, I was a little leery at the time. When you're dealing with all those kind of dramas, sometimes personal growth isn't really there. It did have an effect on my health. Stress can really have a tremendous effect. Family life, again, when you have these other issues, it causes stress, and maybe some of you can relate. I think we all deal with this crazy thing of stress. Thank God I've got this amazing lady in my life that I love with all my heart, and so she's hung in there with me through thick and thin, and so that was pretty good. But again, when you're dealing with dramas, sometimes it seems like the only thing to talk about are the dramas in your life, and that wasn't what I wanted to talk about. So social life wasn't really there. The whole point of this wheel is, if we were to connect these dots, you can see that it would be a pretty rough. This wheel would roll pretty roughly down the road. It'd be a bumpy ride. Now, more importantly, that's kind of a picture of where I was at. But what does your life look like? Where is it that you could use more balance in your life? Are you totally happy with where you're at, your career? You feel completely fulfilled? What about finances? Like I said, do you have room for more? Maybe it's just a feeling of wanting to contribute and give back more to society, be involved with some exciting people. Whatever it is, or health, whatever it is, ASEA, like perhaps, and I'll show you a picture of what this wheel looks like after being involved with ASEA for a little while at the end. But this has truly been a vehicle that's made a huge difference in the quality of our life in all these areas. And so it's just interesting to take an assessment of what your number one place is, what your number two place is, in terms of where you would like to create more growth, more balance in your own personal life. Just as I mentioned, I had to get it right. I was looking at a few things, and it was just happened to be this gentleman right here. Ed Waynes called me up on the phone. And by the way, some of these other people had actually called and talked with me about ASEA beforehand. I'm almost embarrassed to admit that I had been approached quite a number of times, because people who had been successful with the other company that I had been involved with had jumped into ASEA. But truthfully, I just didn't get it. I didn't understand this salt water from Salt Lake City. Just didn't make any sense to me at the beginning. Plus, I knew that companies come and go, and I knew that that I wanted to make sure that I got involved with a company that had been around for at least 5 years, so that they were rock solid and stable. Well, it just so happened that I was given a golden ticket, if you will. I was given an opportunity based on my previous experience to fly to Salt Lake City and meet the founders at ASEA. And I was pretty intrigued when I actually opened my eyes and ears and was willing to take a closer look at this. Quite frankly, I was very, very intrigued. Now, what actually happened is I flew to Salt Lake City, and I met this gentleman right here in the bottom right-hand corner. His name's Vertus Norton. Vertus is the founder of ASEA. And there's certain people that you meet in your life. You look in their eye, you shake their hand, and you just know that there's something special about them. I just want to tell you that is Vertus Norton. I remember sitting in the boardroom when I met the executive team, and I met this gentleman over here, Dr. Gary Samuelson, the atomic medical physicist, and I just had this overwhelming feeling, like I'd been lost in the desert for 20 years, and I just walked into a beautiful oasis. I felt like I was home. I literally got goosebumps, and strangely enough, I was actually holding back the tears, because I realized I had found my home, and I understood the power of this technology and how important it was to get it out to the world. Shortly after this, I invited a couple gentlemen, Mel and Danny, who are also in this picture down below here with me, to investigate this, who have become tremendous leaders in this company as well. So it's just been a remarkable journey. But I wanted to just share this photo with you from kind of some of the beginning. This is at the manufacturing facility when we were first getting involved in this company. So let me just tell you that ASEA doesn't, just a little disclaimer here, ASEA doesn't claim to treat or cure any disease or medical condition. What this technology does is it empowers the body to do what it's meant to do best, which is to help heal itself, or help your body heal itself. And I believe that that's what God gave us, as a body that's designed to heal itself naturally. And so that's exactly what this does. Now, one of the interesting things here, I had pointed out Dan Doyle in the previous picture. So you remember the 6 reasons that I was talking about. One is if you know people who are hurting, people that are dealing with a health challenge or crisis. Now, when I was sitting in that boardroom and listening to how this company actually began, and listened to the founders of this company, Vertus and Tyler and some of the other executives, names started popping in my head. And someone who I thought about was this gentleman right here, Dan Doyle. Dan, let me just tell you a little history here. This is a picture of Dan when he was 24. I didn't know Dan at this time, but Dan has been a real entrepreneur. He's built and sold 20 different businesses in about 20 years. When he hit age 44, he noticed kind of a rash and a lump on his side. He went and got it checked out, and come to find out he had a couple pretty serious health challenges. He underwent treatments for 2.5 years that caused him to lose all the hair on his body. He said these treatments he would not wish on his worst enemy. Dan had been pretty successful, but this situation left him in a very, very tough situation financially, basically on the verge of being destitute, really, and looking for government assistance. And Dan got on. Now, Dan's a fighter. In fact, the doctors told him that there was nothing more they could do, told him to go home and get his affairs in order. And as I mentioned, Dan's a fighter. He got on virtually every supplement and juice and different things. In fact, quite a number of them were products from different network marketing companies, things like Isogenics and Protandim and certain things. And those products probably helped keep him alive. But when I called Danny, I actually didn't realize how severe his situation was. But he said, "Do you know where I'm at, what I'm going through?" Well, this is a picture of Dan when he flew to Salt Lake City, because I told him, I said, "Dan, I think I found something that can help you." I was so excited. And I encouraged him to come out. And I want you to just notice the color of his skin, around his eyes. He doesn't look real healthy here. because he wasn't. He had breathing challenges from the treatments he had undergone. Well, needless to say, keep a long story short, he noticed results literally within really straight away, and within a couple of days, his breathing was substantially better. This is a picture of Dan 1 year later, after after basically getting a clean bill of health, getting a checkup. And this little writing here is a post that Dan put on Facebook a while back, just expressing his gratitude and appreciation. Fact is that Dan is traveling the world, sharing this technology with the world, and it's given him not only his health, but given him a tremendous lifestyle as well. Now, this technology is being considered, it's being held by some of the greatest scientific minds out there as the most significant health and life science breakthrough of our lifetime. This is truly a remarkable breakthrough, and it's literally a technology that for 2 decades science said was impossible to create. So let me just let's just get into what this is not, first of all. So if you're new to this, if you're taking a look at this for the first time, let me just tell you that ASEA is not, it's not some sort of fancy water. It's not a vitamin. It's not a mineral. It's not an antioxidant. It's not exotic juice or essential oils or CBD oil, or certainly not a drug. It's none of those things. ASEA goes beyond nutrition and ingredients. ASEA does what no other product out there can do. This is literally a category creator. So let's just take a look at what it actually is. This is a bottle of ASEA redox signaling molecules. Now this bottle, in fact, even in just every serving, there would be literally trillions and trillions of what we call signaling molecules, redox signaling molecules. Now here's what that actually is. Now, I want you to picture this little round circle as a cell, okay? We're actually made up of about 75 trillion cells. In every cell, there's what they call the mitochondria. Now, the mitochondria, you might think of this as like the nuclear power plant of the cell. It creates energy known as ATP. It stands for adenosine triphosphate. Here's the point. Every time that you think a thought, every time that you blink your eyes, every time that you do anything, that's because of the energy that's been created in the mitochondria to the cell. Now, as that energy or that ATP is created, it kicks off these little tiny molecules, these little fleeting molecules. They last about a millionth of a second. And in that very short period of time, what these molecules do is they detect, protect, repair, and replace damaged cells. These little molecules are virtually the cellular communication. They are so vital to our health that if you stopped to produce them right now, you would literally be dead in seconds. So as we look at this, the foundation of our health literally begins with these redox signaling molecules. That's why I said that there's not another product on the market that can do what this product does, because it's like the head of the stream. Everything else is downstream from this. So these molecules are responsible for all the cell-to-cell communication. We have trillions of cells these cells create tissues that create organs that create our systems, and that obviously creates us. So keep in mind, we live and we die at the cellular level. So when your cells are healthy, you're healthy. Now, if our body creates these molecules naturally, then why would we need to supplement with more of them? Well, it's a good question. One of the first reasons is because as we age, starting around puberty, we actually produce about 10% less of these redox signaling molecules every decade. And so I'm 50, I'll turn 58 this year. It's hard to believe. Time is ticking by. But look, I'm producing probably maybe 40 or 50% of what I used to produce when I was a teenager. So again, we don't heal as quickly. Obviously, that's why as we age, if you get injured or whatever, you just don't recover as quickly. The other thing is, I don't know if anybody can relate with this picture. One big word called stress. Stress in their life. You know, we all do. We all have challenges, particularly in the state of the world as it is right now. A lot of people are experiencing tremendous stress and uncertainty and insecurity, whether it's with their job or health, lots of different things that can cause to that. Now, that stress can also affect our body's ability to heal. And then the next thing is our environmental situation too, the pollutants in the air, toxicity in our foods, all those kind of things will have an effect on our health and our body's ability to produce these redox signaling molecules. So, so this is where it really makes a difference. That's why it's important to supplement with more of these molecules. So we've talked about how our body produces these molecules. Now let's talk about how ASEA does, okay? Now, ASEA, I want you to think about this. When I showed a picture of the cell, it said salt water in there. We are mostly made up of what? Salt water, okay? People usually say mostly made up of water, but it's actually salt water. If you think about it, your tears are salty, your sweat is salty, amniotic fluid is salty. So we are, and every cell of your body, think of it as like a little bag of salt water. So the body creates these molecules in a saltwater substance. Now, ASEA uses exactly the same ingredients, pristine salt water, and the same as what's found in your cells. And that salt water is broken down into free-floating atoms of sodium, chloride, hydrogen, and oxygen. Now, this is a heavily patented 3-day process where the atoms are restructured into stabilized redox signaling molecules. Now, this is where the magic, where the miracle really happens, because I want you to think about this for a second. It's talked with a brilliant scientist, and he said this is like alchemy. He says it's like taking a positive and negative magnet and making it so they don't stick together. He said it's quite remarkable what ASEA has managed to accomplish here. It's like, think of it this way: if you were to have a campfire and you poke a stick at it and you see the little sparks fly up. Now, just imagine if you could capture those little sparks and put them in a jar and put that jar on the shelf and say, hey, I'm going to build my campfire. You go and grab that jar with the little sparks in it a week later, a month later. Well, obviously those sparks would not be sparks anymore. But with ASEA, that's essentially what they've done, is they've captured those little sparks of energy. Dr. Gary Samuelson, he told me at that meeting, he said, he said, I really feel like this was a gift that was given to me. He said that he felt like this was really meant for these times, and that can mean different things to different people. But he's a pretty spiritual guy, and he just really felt like this was not because he is extremely bright and smart, but he said just the way this came about, he really felt like it was something that was given to him. Let's just put it that way. And he says this technology has the potential to spearhead the greatest advances in health we have ever seen. So truly remarkable guy. By the way, Dr. Samuelson is one of the most humble people I've ever met in my life. There's only a handful of people really at his level, as I mentioned, as an atomic medical physicist. That's a pretty interesting story in and of itself. Now, let me just tell you, this technology is not only is it heavily patented, but it's also heavily validated by science. So one of the key places is this company called Bioagiletics. They are a laboratory that works with 21 of the top 25 pharmaceutical companies globally, and they actually certify, they verify, they validate every batch of ASEA is in fact redox certified. So if you were to get on the internet, and by the way, Google is not a research engine, it's a search engine, which is entirely different. So I kind of refer to Google as a little bit like the bathroom wall. Anybody can post anything on there, and some people, as we know, have different agendas that are there. So if you went on there and it said, oh, it's just expensive salt water, not so. This is, like I said, it's certified, verified, and so forth, that it's redox certified. So it is what it is. Also, there's a couple companies like this coveted five-star seal of approval from Dermatest for skin research, anti-aging benefits. Stevens Associates North Carolina Research Campus has done some remarkable studies with athletic performance, and Tourette Laboratories is one that's done some gene studies, which I'm going to show you next. This is really, really cool. So as I mentioned, this company does gene studies. They did an 8-week study with redox signaling, and they found out that by supplementing with these molecules, that your genetic expression, your genes, which by the way are subject to being turned on and turned off. If you didn't know that, that's pretty interesting stuff. My goodness, if you could just turn on your genetic expression by a few percent, that'd be a pretty big deal. But this does it up to 31%. It's actually 20 to 31% in all of these areas: immune system, inflammatory response, cardiovascular health, your gut health, your digestive health, and also hormone modulation. So all of these things, you can see how important they all are. Just for example, if we just took the one, inflammatory response, think of anything that ends in itis. So that would have an effect on any of those kind of things: bursitis, colitis, um, arthritis, any of those kind of things. Cardiovascular health, that's pretty self-explanatory. Your heart health, immune system, all these things are pretty incredible. So let's just explore this a little deeper. So if we just take one of those genetic pathways, which is, it's called EGR1, this actually branches off into 15 other genetic pathways as well. And let's just take a look at a couple of these. So the NFR2 pathway, this is a really big one. This actually helps your body to produce things like glutathione, which is your body's super master antioxidant. Get this, we can actually, this ASEA can actually help to increase your body's production of glutathione up to 800%. By the way, this is hundreds of times more potent than fruits and berries and that sort of thing in terms of your antioxidants. So really super important. What about circadian rhythm? So helping you to sleep better at night, for example. And insulin signaling. So people who are dealing with blood sugar challenges, we've seen remarkable benefits for them too. Ovarian fertility genes. So let's say, for example, people have been spending years and years trying to get pregnant, or have gone through miscarriages, or been doing in vitro fertilization and just having some real challenges. We just coincidentally happen to have lots of little ASEA babies running around. And so, by the way, very healthy babies too. So, so obviously the point here is that this is helping the body do what it's supposed to do. And it's very exciting to see the results that we can get. So I want to let you know that these molecules help to regulate virtually every major body system and function. So when people say, does it work well? Does it work for this? Does it work for that? Look, we can't make any specific medical, medical claims, but think of it this way: we're empowering the body to do what it's meant to do. And my simple answer would be, are there cells involved? Because if there are cells involved, which obviously there are, this is going to help the body to do what it's supposed to do, whether it is with your skin health or your heart health here, your, any of these situations. Now, what I'd like to tell you is that ASEA has also, actually what happened is people took the drink, and they were putting it in spray bottles. They were spraying it on their eyes, spraying it in their skin. By the way, eyesight was improving. It's great for skin challenges as well. They knew they had an application for a skincare product, and they developed this first product here on the right, which is called Renew 28. It's called Renew 28 because healthy skin renews itself every 28 days. Now, they actually spent 5 years, the scientists spent 5 years developing this and figuring out how to put these molecules into a gel for the skin. And now it's actually expanded into a full skincare line, which also includes a serum, which is a super concentrated version of these molecules. There's also a cleanser and a moisturizer, and these are all designed to work synergistically together. Now, by the way, the skincare industry is 20 times larger than the vitamin industry. This is a massive area. People are always looking to not only look or not only feel, but to look their best as well. So I'll show you some other things. Now, the other thing that's important to note is with a lot of skincare products, they're loaded with things that aren't very healthy, carcinogenics of different kinds. With this skincare line, it is completely safe. As I mentioned, it got the 5-star seal of approval. So there's none of the bad stuff and all of the good stuff. But I think more importantly, seeing is believing. So when you can actually see the physical, tangible results, whether it be scarring, you can see the huge difference, or the smoothness of the skin, anti-aging benefits. We'll just click on some larger photos here so you can see more clearly. But this is actually, most of these are in 28 days. This first picture is actually in 3 weeks. Now, I want to point something out. Raydoon, this is her name. She does live blood cell analysis. So she could actually look at your blood under a microscope and see what the cells look like. After being on ASEA, they'd be nice, round, plump cells that are moving around and behaving the way they're supposed to instead of clumping together and moving through your body like sludge. But she was using the gel on her neck, and she didn't think she was getting very good results. And then finally, after 3 weeks, she thought, well, I'll take an after photo and see if there's a difference. And she was stunned to see the difference. And you can obviously see a massive difference between the top and the bottom photo. And so the point here is it's a good idea to take a photo, but realize that every day, if you're looking in the mirror, you probably won't see those results, even though they're there, just because, you know, those small changes day by day. But also the redness, the irritation that this young lady's experiencing has cleared up substantially. And over time, the scarring just has remarkable benefit too. I'll show you some other photos. Cindy Lou, she had some sores on her face from some medication that she was taking that nothing would help to clear these sores up except for the Renew 28 did. And then of course, just the effects of aging that we all experience. Sarah Aquilina, she dealt with this adult skincare challenge that left that was really really a problem, but this product absolutely gave her back her skin, and she's pretty excited about what that's done for her. This young man, obviously this is longer than 28 days, but this is a game changer, guys. This is quality. This can really change the quality of someone's life. Again, this is over time. You can see the scarring has gone down significantly in this lady. And Rosie at 84, her son was a chiropractor. He got her on these products. After 7 weeks, she went into his office and said, I want to cancel my order. And he said, well, why is that? And she said, well, it's not doing anything for me. So once again, he said, well, you know, Mom, we did take a before photo. Let's take an after photo. And isn't there just a phenomenal difference between these two? If you look around her eyes, if you look around her neck and face, she looks like she's 15 years younger. Just an amazing difference. And then obviously at age 87, she looks better than she did at 84. So I just want to point out also that some people notice results in different times. Like in this lady, it was actually 7 months before she to experience this result. She obviously had a very serious and painful challenge with her skin on her face. And Dr. Marty Moran, he decided to use it on half of his face. My goodness, it looks like he's had a facelift. It's pretty easy to tell which side he used the Renew 28 on. Also, we can look at things like the elasticity. This is in 28 days, the difference in the arm, the marks on the dark spots on the hands, and the stretch marks. So it's tightened up. Same thing, more stretch marks. And believe it or not, even with things like cellulite, which actually affects like 90% of women, 10% of men, it's a pretty big deal. So this can actually help. So this is really for the whole body. This is a good friend of ours, Sepp, went to his chiropractor. His chiropractor said, hey, Sepp, you better get that checked out. So he finally did. And this is kind of what it looked like when it was magnified. And they said they removed the size of about a mango from his back. It was pretty substantial. You can see a pretty long scar. The nurses told him, hey, Sepp, we weren't sure if we were going to see you back here. But he's got a clean bill of health. He obviously took large doses of the ASEA, used plenty of the Renew 28 in the serum, and that really helped to clear things up for him after he got that removed. So I've shown you some before and after photos, and I've explained what the technology is and how ASEA produces it. But let me just share with you a little bit more on the breakthrough, because with a massive breakthrough like this, it truly does create an enormous opportunity. And just to talk about the breakthrough for just a moment, these three gentlemen actually are the ones that were awarded a Nobel Prize in medicine when they discovered what these molecules were. They had discovered the molecules before, but people just thought they were like a waste product of the cell creating energy. So they discovered that these molecules were actually signaling molecules that were responsible for cellular communication. So that's pretty cool. Now, the other thing in terms of validation, I mentioned Google before, but if you wanted to go to a research engine, you go to pubmed.gov. PubMed is is one of the places where you can go for research. Um, this has actually gone up substantially since then. This is an older slide, but thousands, tens of thousands of results on medical research on redox signaling. So if you just went there and typed in redox signaling, for example, you would see that. Also, there's literally over 1,500 academic journals and texts on books on the subject. So it's actually one of the fastest growing areas of science medically. So ASEA has the world's first and only redox signaling supplement. Now, how cool is that to have a monopoly on this market? It's heavily patented. No one has what we have. And this is something that is truly everybody needs to know about. Now, with a breakthrough like this, to let you know, there is 3 major categories that we actually participate with, 3 markets. One would be the health and wellness market. And yeah, you can see the effects that this can have with oxidative stress, inflammatory stress and reaction. And ASEA does help to balance those challenges. So health and wellness, healthcare, that's huge. Now, the next thing would be sports and athletic performance. This is a $1 trillion industry as well. So we've got gold medal athletes like Bria Larson and Cody Miller. They've both won gold medals in Olympics. All of these athletes have just remarkable testimonies, just phenomenal to hear their stories and the results. And then I've mentioned before the skin, beauty and skincare, aging, longevity. By the way, the skincare, guys, this is not just for women. This is unisex. I love the skincare line. It feels good, smells good. It's great for sunburns and just anything. Bee stings, spider bites, wrinkles, just all those things. So here is our world headquarters just south of Salt Lake City in Pleasant Grove. And ASEA is the global leader in cellular health industry. And as I mentioned, this is a category creating company. Now, let me just share with you just a little bit about the story here and how this actually began. I mentioned Vertus Norton in the beginning, and what actually happened was Vertus Norton, let me pull up his page, his photos here. Vertus and Tyler Norton, what they did is they perfected this technology, and they took a group of people. They took a group of 40 people. These were friends, they were family members, and 6 of these 40 people, they basically gave them free access to the product. Now, by the way, 6 of these 40 people were terminal. The doctors had literally told them to go home and get their affairs in order, couldn't do anything more for them, and they were in a pretty serious state. Well, they gave these folks free reign to the product, said you can have as much as you want, and they wanted to find out kind of what would happen, because here's the truth: when you drink ASEA, you don't drink it because you want to have a tasty beverage. You drink it because of the health benefits. It doesn't taste good. It doesn't taste horrible. It just you don't drink it for the taste. You drink it for the benefits. And so they came back 2 months later, and they did an inventory. They discovered that this group of 40 people had turned into 135 people in 20 different countries. People were paying to ship this all over the world. And more importantly, people were having some remarkable results, life-changing kind of results. Now, I want you to keep in mind, when Vertus acquired this technology, his idea was going to be to perfect it and develop it and flip it to sell it to a pharmaceutical company at that time. Well, it was at this time when they had done the inventory that they met with a company, pharmaceutical company. It's called Bart Pharmaceutical. They've merged now with another company, but they flew into Salt Lake in their private jet with their executives and scientists. The scientists kind of went in the back room. They took the product and did their little tests on it. They came back and said, they've got what they say they've got. It's real. And they said, the executives told Vertus, he said, Vertus, we're going to make you an offer that's so big that you won't want to go anywhere else. But there's one condition. And Vertus said, well, what's that? And he says, you're going to have to shut it down. And he says, I don't understand. He says, they said, well, you've got 135 people on the product. If you want to do business with us, you're going to have to take all those people off the product today. We'll take the 7 pallets of research, millions of dollars worth of research and all the equipment, and basically you walk away. And it would have been generational wealth. Now, to these gentlemen's credit, to Vertus's credit and his son Tyler, um, Vertus said, he said, look, we've got people that are dependent on this product, and they said their attitude was basically just let them die. There's people deal with their problems different ways, and Vertus, because of his integrity and who he is as a human being, he said, no, we're not going to do that. And he made the decision that this would be his legacy, and he would make sure that this was available to the public, because actually Dr. Samuelson told him, he said, Vertus, they're going to shelve it. This will never see the light of day. He said, I could live 100 lifetimes and I'd never come across a technology that is this profound and this life-changing. So bottom line is that these people truly put people and principles and purpose above ego and economic motivations. They're truly remarkable people in that regard, and so proud to be associated, so grateful to be associated with people with those kind of values and integrity. So that's something that's been very, very exciting. So this is all about bettering people's lives, and ASEA has taken advantage of the very best form of marketing, which is word of mouth. Look, I used to work for the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. I talked with lots of business owners, and you could go and talk with any business owner and say, what is the very best form of marketing? They would tell you word of mouth. So ASEA, instead of spending millions of dollars on radio and television, newspaper ads, that sort of thing, they literally pay us for the word of mouth advertising. That goes to us as the marketing arm for ASEA. Now, one of the concerns that I had was, what about timing? As I mentioned, a lot of companies don't ever, sometimes they say, oh, you want to be at the ground floor of a company. Well, actually you don't, because most companies actually never get off the ground. We are in a very unique place right now, which is a momentum phase. Right here, ASEA has spent time validating this technology because no one had even heard about it. And right now that we're taking it to the world, and we're letting people know about the profound results. Now, what this means is it spells out a great opportunity for people who would like to earn a little bit or would like to earn a lot. We've got these figures broken down into US dollars or Australian dollars, just based on the exchange difference. But you can see, even as people get started, kind of in the beginning, they can earn they can earn some decent amount of change just by sharing this with a few people. And if they want to treat it more like a business and get more serious, you can really generate, thousands of dollars a month, and up to the ambassador ranks and so forth. So it is truly a chance. But the thing I love about this is when you create an income with ASEA, particularly when you get into these ranks, you're actually creating a residual income that you can literally have the time to enjoy it. There's people out there that have lots of money, but they have no time. There's other people that have all the time in the world, but they don't have the resources to enjoy it either. So what I'm saying is that this is a chance of making a living while making a genuine difference in other people's lives. And Melissa and I, it's also a chance to really live your dreams. So many people have forgotten how to dream. They don't dare dream because they've been kicked in the gut so many times that they just don't, life's, giving them some tough blows sometimes. And, it did for us. And sometimes you just got to suck it up. I am so glad. I am so incredibly grateful that I saw this and I got it, and that we made the decision that we were going to take this to the world and share this with people. But we haven't even begun yet. We are literally on this. We haven't scratched the scratch on the surface yet. The market is truly immeasurable. So I would just say, whatever your dreams, whatever your goals, aspirations are, this is something that you can truly create a remarkable life and create something quite amazing with. So I guess the choice is yours. Where do you see yourself? Obviously, when you know what this product does, you absolutely need to become a customer. This is something that you'd want to use and experience for the rest of your life. Maybe you see yourself as a customer, and if you want to start there, that's perfectly okay. For us, we saw this straight away as a remarkable opportunity. We wanted to lead by example. Maybe you see yourself as creating, an additional income to supplement your income, and an extra $500 to $1,000 a month can make a big difference in a lot of people's lives. As a matter of fact, that can be a pretty remarkable car payment, or a home payment can bring yeah, if someone's working multiple jobs, I can get rid of one of those so that you have more time for your family. Or like us, maybe you see this as a chance to create a lifestyle income. Um, ASEA, there is ASEA could care less if you're young or old, male, female, black, white. Your only limitation is just your own, just just your own limited thinking, really, um, because everything that is created from you is part of your network. ASEA is going to compensate you through that compensation plan. There's 8 different ways we get paid. I won't go through those ways tonight, but let me just tell you this. In terms of career, 10 out of 10, I love network marketing. If you got the right company with the right people, the right values and the right timing, it is a remarkable industry. As my friend Eric Worre says, it's not perfect, but it is absolutely a better way. Um, couldn't be more happy with the people that we're with. The only reason that that's not a 10 out of 10 is because there's always room for improvement. So we're always looking to grow. Same thing, personal growth. If you like becoming more, look, we're either growing or we're dying, and we're all about helping people to be the most they can be and achieving more in their life, physically and mentally. Health is great. Major improvements, family life, relationship, social life, and attitude. The point I'm making here is that this wheel looks a whole lot different than that wheel I showed you in the beginning. And again, wherever you would like to create more balance in your own life, maybe like how this has been a godsend for us, maybe this could be a godsend for you too. It's just been remarkable to see how ASEA can change lives. In fact, one of the things that I truly love is the social life, the people that we get to associate with, the friends that we have, people that I never would have known had it not been for ASEA coming into our lives. So we kind of think of it as the ASEA family. So experience the breakthrough today. Get back with the person who invited you, who shared this who invited you to this presentation. And I just close with this. Vertus Norton, he at a convention a little while back, he said, he was on stage and he said, looked at us, and it was like he was pouring his heart out. He was getting older and he said, look, we're at the start of something big with great purpose. And right now is the moment that we begin influencing the future. We can change the world. I remember when I was at that fly-in meeting, Bertus stood up and he said, if people really understood what we have our hands on here, he said, we'd be bigger than Apple Computer overnight. And I thought, that's pretty profound. So no, we do have a big message. We got a big vision and message that we need to get out to the world. We need a lot of help to do that. There's a massive opportunity to do that. And so again, please get with the person who invited you. And I'd like to just say thank you very much for joining us. If you have any questions, I'm happy to stay on here. Just stop